Hello there guys and welcome, it is Niran here, and today it is time for episode number 12 of the Ultimate Driver series, our Ferrari career mode here on F1 2014 of course. Now, we are here in Belgium at Spa-Francochamps, one of the gems of the calendar and one of my favourite tracks on the entirety of the game. So we're looking forward to hopefully a good result out of this race. Certainly a good and entertaining race. 0% chance of rain, as you can see there in the background. Here we're just fiddling around with the race strategy. There you can see we're going for an option prime strategy. That just to cover off some of the other guys. There you can see the teammate challenge in correspondence to Fernando Alonso. We've of course got a podium in our first race for Ferrari in Hungary. But before we get into Belgium, it's time to look at the qualifying report. Q1 would be headed by an informed Yusufu for Ferrari, as he was fastest from fellow Brit Lewis Hamilton. There were no surprises at the back end of the order, as Pastor Maldonado and Esteban Gutierrez were eliminated with the Marussias and Caterhams. A typical Belgian downpour in Q2 threw up a whole new dynamic, as those who put on options at the start benefited. Lewis Hamilton was fastest from Jenson Button and Sebastian Vettel, whilst Perez and Q1 hero Yusufu were caught out in the rain. Toro Rosso will be regretting not gambling, as they could only manage 13th and 14th on intermediates. In a very wet Q3, however, it would be that man again, Lewis Hamilton, taking pole in front of Nico Rosberg for another front row lockout. Sebastian Vettel and Daniel Ricciardo took 3rd and 4th, whilst Hulkenberg took a solid 6th for Force India. So all of this means that Lewis Hamilton will be on pole for the Belgian Grand Prix in front of teammate Nico Rosberg, Sebastian Vettel and Daniel Ricciardo in 4th. Fernando Alonso took 5th in front of Nico Hulkenberg, Felipe Massa, Valtteri Bottas, Jenson Button and Kevin Magnussen in 10th. So yes, here we are in Belgium, such a prestigious event on the F1 calendar. As you can see, Lewis Hamilton starting on pole. It's another Mercedes front row lockout. Will anyone be able to stop the resurgent Mercedes this season? It's turning into domination. We are starting only in 12 on the grid after being caught out in a very wet, a very rain-affected qualifying session. But as you can see, 5 lights now on, and they are now off, and we are underway there. Sergio Perez to our right-hand side, the man who, of course, replaced us at Force India. Terrible start for Jenson Button there from 9th on the grid in the McLaren, engulfed by his teammate Magnussen and Perez along the inside. Bottas being hung out to dry. We are in there to an extent. We get at the inside of Bottas and round the outside of Button. That's 2 positions made. Past Bottas, past Button, and now Nico Hulkenberg is the man in front of us. They're getting in the slipstream down towards Eau Rouge. We're going to go alongside each other through Eau Rouge, but we turn in far too late. Go wide. Jenson Button goes through. Awful line through Eau Rouge, and we've lost a whole lot of time, a whole heap of time. Thankfully only 1 position, but there you can see Daniel Kvyat there, Adrian Sutil and Valtteri Bottas all over the back of us there. They go 3 wide as we now go into this chicane down the Kemmel Straight, the end of the Kemmel Straight. Thankfully we make some time back up on Button. We go right round the outside of Button there. Magnussen being held up as Hulkenberg goes right round the outside of the Dane and back up into 10th place rather luckily after that huge mistake out of Rouge. Now we're going to try and go up the inside of the other McLaren there of Magnussen, and we do in fact do that there. Nico Hulkenberg occupying 8th place, trying to go alongside him into Eau Rouge. It just didn't work, and we've lost a whole heap of time here. We are up into 9th place though, from 12th on the grid. Of course, as I said, or as was mentioned in the qualifying report, we just got caught out by the wet conditions. This doesn't obviously happen very often. This happens to the AI more than it happens to the actual user or to myself. But unfortunately, I had 1 chance on the dry tyres, on the option tyres. I messed it up. I made a mistake down at the bus stop chicane. We made quite a few mistakes before that in the lap, but that one just completely ended it. GG no re. And unfortunately we ended up 12th, a long way off the pace on those option tyres, on a very wet track it must be said. But now it is time to get back into the race, and we are going past Nico Hulkenberg. A rather cheeky move. They're using the grass, but for some reason Hulkenberg, they're very slow in a straight line as we now go through Blanchimont. I don't know if he was actually saving some fuel, but now look at this, an absolute traffic jam being caused there by the 2 Red Bulls who managed to go around the outside there of Felipe Massa, as I was describing that. And now at the inside of Sergio Perez, who has had an absolutely fantastic start up into 7th place, or well, he was in 6th place. We've just gone at the inside of him now as we go into the left-hander with no name. Behind our teammate now, Fernando Alonso, who's stuck behind the 2 Red Bulls. Vettel and Ricciardo causing a massive train behind them, it has to be said. But now we are following Fernando Alonso down towards Eau Rouge there. Perez and Felipe Massa behind us as this group starts to spread out a little bit, starts to disperse. We are, though, however, all over back of Fernando Alonso. What a run we get out of Eau Rouge, and what a recovery drive this is turning into, up into 5th place now, with the assistance of DRS, though, as we go through past the Spaniard. In front of us are 2 Red Bulls alongside each other there as Daniel Ricciardo goes through past Sebastian Vettel, and we go purple there onto lap 3 through the first sector. We are absolutely flying, and now later onto lap 3 we can see 4th place man Sebastian Vettel. He is directly in our sights, going slowly, saving ERS, harvesting the ERS there, and we go right around the outside of him before we even reach the bus stop chicane, and now Daniel Ricciardo in the other Red Bull is in our sights. But as will be proven, it must have been Sebastian Vettel holding up the pack, because later on to now lap 6, Daniel Ricciardo is still 1.2 seconds up the road despite us going purple. We did manage to catch him right at the end of the stint, but Daniel Ricciardo there certainly far quicker than his German teammate, who was clearly holding up that entire pack, including my teammate Sergio Perez and Felipe Massa. Nico Hülkenberg will have probably caught them too. As you can see in the Mercedes there, Lewis Hamilton has pitted in front of me. We are though going to move on to another brand spanking new set of option tyres. It's a 3.7 second pit stop, as is the norm on this game. I think Daniel Ricciardo may have come in, as well as I think possibly Nico Hülkenberg there behind us. Hamilton getting a massive jump on us there. Alonso and I think Sergio Perez have gone through. Kevin Magnussen will filter out behind, be behind us after we filter out. But now on to lap 7, the rest of the guys coming in, including Perez and my teammate Alonso. We are, I think, going to jump, however, Daniel Ricciardo. Of course, we did get the undercut there, pitting a lap earlier onto these option tyres, and we have in fact taken 3rd place. And a second podium is on the cards here in Belgium. We've actually leapfrogged Daniel Ricciardo there very convincingly with that undercut. Now this stint is all about trying to catch the 2 Mercedes in front of us. Nico Rosberg about 5 seconds up the road. He's lost the lead to Lewis Hamilton after Hamilton got the undercut. Now I think Nico Rosberg may be running in high revs. That's what I was told by my engineer. So this may be a very hard stint in terms of trying to catch them. Obviously we have a chance because we're on the option tyres. So Rosberg, of course, will be quicker than Lewis Hamilton in that rich fuel mixture. But as you can see there, as we go purple onto lap 9, we're only 4.1 seconds behind Rosberg. Now to 3 seconds at the end of lap 10, really flying and really just cutting the gap massively to Rosberg. And by the end of lap 13, or sorry, the end of lap 12, now moving on to the end of lap 13, we actually cut the gap down to 1.9 seconds. So cutting the gap there from 5 seconds to, in effect, 2. Doesn't sound too much, but with the DRS just getting within a second means you're basically going to pass the man in front of you with that overpowered DRS zone or DRS straight there on the Kemmel straight. That's actually Lewis Hamilton pitting right in front of me. Now we are going to be a lot quicker than Lewis Hamilton because for some reason his pace was lacking somewhat in this race. Nico Rosberg was far quicker than him in the first 2 stints. We are though now both on the prime tyres. As you can see, minus 2 laps of fuel because we've been having to burn so much fuel in the first 2 stints to actually catch up with people. Ricciardo in the first stint and then Rosberg, in the second stint. But we are in the meantime breezing past Lewis Hamilton there with the rich revs, and well, my goodness me, what a turn up for the books this is. We managed to pass Hamilton out on track, which is a miracle in itself. But obviously we've got the undercut on Nico Rosberg, who is now in the pit lane, and surely just through strategy we're going to leapfrog Nico Rosberg as well. Into the first corner we go. Through the hairpin, Nico Rosberg coming out of the pit lane, but we are in fact going to take the lead of the Belgian Grand Prix. We started in 12th. And now down into Eau Rouge, we are in the lead of the race. Nico Rosberg, though, however, is not going to give this one up. And now as we come down the Kemmel straight, he will have DRS. He'll have DRS, and he'll have a slipstream. He'll have rich fuel mixture, everything. Rosberg has a huge amount of pace over myself and his teammate down the Kemmel straight, down into the chicane. He tries to go around the outside, but we have that one covered off fairly easily. Got somewhat of an overlap, but we did manage to just about hold on. Now this stint is going to be about holding off the Mercedes, but also about fuel saving. We're now down into minus 1 lap of fuel, but unfortunately, with having to keep these guys behind, we're going to have to be in rich fuel mixture down the Kemmel straight. They're in standard just to give ourselves a chance of staying in front of these guys, who will of course be so much quicker in a straight line with DRS. With everything available to them now into lap 17, and Rosberg with a very optimistic move. They're up the inside through the bus stop chicane, just basically stuck the nose of that Mercedes up the inside of us, and then gets away with the assistance of DRS. Lewis Hamilton trying to go up the inside of us now, down into the hairpin. We fling ourselves around the outside of him, and I think we'll get a better drive out of the corner than Nico Rosberg going around the outside of him now as well. Down towards Eau Rouge, we're going to be alongside the Mercedes driver. This is fantastic racing. On to lap 18, we're in rich fuel mixture. mixture, or we are in rich fuel mixture, so we just about managed to stay in front of Rosberg, but now the German will have DRS down the Kemmel Straight. He was behind us through the activation zone, and now Rosberg bearing down on as we go. We just flick to the inside to cover him off, but Rosberg has a far superior straight line speed, managed to get round the outside of us. We're going to cut back now and trying to get round the outside. This is fantastic racing, still alongside each other, going round the outside. Rosberg just about giving us enough space, and down into this sweeping downhill hairpin, we just about get around the outside. What racing that was. Absolutely spectacular with Nico Rosberg. And Rosberg yet again all over the back of us now as we go through Blanchimont. Lewis Hamilton looking for a move up Rosberg. What a move that is from Lewis Hamilton through Blanchimont. It concerns me not a jot. But what a move that is from the Brit. Look at this on the replay. Fantastic move up the inside through Blanchimont. Flat out. He's just given it full beans at the inside of his teammate. And obviously, Mercedes at Belgium possibly could have been an accident. It could have been an accident, and just think about the repercussions if the two Mercedes would have made contact here in Belgium. But it's not end of story. It's not GG no re this time, because of course Lewis Hamilton is going to have the assistance of DRS down the Kemmel Straight. We're flinging it through Eau Rouge currently, but Lewis Hamilton surely will have the pace advantage. He seems to have the pace advantage over everyone. We've been holding up Nico Rosberg an absolute treat in this stint so far, and now onto lap 19. Lewis Hamilton is trying to go right around the outside, trying to recreate the move his teammate pulled on us on the last lap, which led to that incredible racing through the next sequence of corners. We do just about hold on though in front of Lewis Hamilton. Now through Pouhon we go there. We've got a bit wide. We've been caught there on the curb. That is a very nasty curve through Pouhon. It's one that's caught me out in the past, and we have in fact lost the lead due to that being spat out basically out wide onto the runoff area, and we're now just going to have to try and keep with Lewis Hamilton. We're going to go, I think, up into standard fuel mixture. There we go, standard fuel mixture, just to give ourselves a chance now in the run down towards the bus stop chicane. If we're even in the close proximity of Lewis Hamilton down into the bus stop, we should be able to make a move down the Kemmel Straight. We are sort of bearing down, and Nico Rosberg a lot closer to us than we are to Lewis Hamilton, but our Ferrari is giving it full beans through Blanchimont, and I think we are just about going to be in touching distance. Not enough for a move, not close enough for a move here down into the bus stop chicane. Going to try and get a wide entrance now to the second part of the chicane. They're cutting off Nico Rosberg's nose. He may not have been too happy with that, but it gave us a great run out of the last corner, and now starting lap 20 we have the assistance of DRS down the main straight. Not going to make a move down into turn 1 here. This very tight, of course, very tight hairpin where all hell broke loose. You know, it was at 2012, I think it was. Romain Grosjean just flung himself at everyone down there, but that was 2 years ago. Today is now. That last sentence made no sense, but as Lewis Hamilton harvests his ERS, we're bearing down on him so quickly. It's a very similar move to Fernando Alonso. In fact, it's a carbon copy of the move on Fernando Alonso earlier on in the race, and we get a much better run through Eau Rouge. Down the Kemmel Straight we go. Of course, we get DRS as well, just to add insult to injury for Lewis Hamilton there. We managed to pull away a bit as well there with the assistance of the rear wing flap opening up. And now onto the final lap of the race. We're down into optimal fuel mixture, so we've got a bit of a chance of using rich fuel mixture, which may mean this might actually be the huge difference. This stint has been all about trying to keep these guys behind and about fuel saving. With all that fuel we've been burning up in stint 2 to catch up with stint 1 to catch up with Daniel Ricciardo, in stint 2 to catch up with the two Mercedes, and obviously now it's about fuel saving. On to the final lap here though of the race, and we are leading from 12th on the grid. We are leading the Belgian Grand Prix. We've managed to hold on to the lead through the vital zone, across the Kemmel... What am I talking about? Down the Kemmel Straight. That's the one. That's the word I was trying to pick out. Down the Kemmel Straight. We have in fact held on to the lead there with the assistance of that rich fuel mixture. Being able to use that with all the fuel saving we've been doing so far in this stint. But that is one of the main places for Lewis Hamilton to make the move gone on this final lap of the race. And we are half a lap now away from our second win of the season, in our second race for Ferrari, having got a podium in Hungary. But we won't count our chickens before they've hatched, because Lewis Hamilton is still absolutely all over the back of our gearbox, harassing it. He could get, it's ridiculous. He needs a restraining order from the back end of my gearbox. But still, flicking it now into rich fuel mixture as we go. I don't know what I was talking about with the restraining order. I'm excited because we're winning this race here in Belgium. Lewis Hamilton, though, as we thunder down towards Blanchimont, is absolutely all over the back of us. We've just got to hold on. We've just got to go defensive down into the bus stop, and surely we will claim our second win of the season. We've held on onto the entrance of the bus stop chicane. We've held on the exit of the bus stop chicane, and now surely we are going to win here in Belgium. What an absolutely ridiculous race here from Spa-Francochamps, but that is in fact our second win of the season. The first one came at Bahrain with Force India, then we grabbed a podium on our debut for Ferrari in Hungary, and now we have taken our second victory, our maiden victory however for Ferrari here in Belgium. Ridiculous scenes. From 12th on the grid, we claim the full 25 points in front of Lewis Hamilton, Nico Rosberg, Daniel Ricciardo, Sebastian Vettel, Fernando Alonso, Nico Hülkenberg, Sergio Perez, Jenson Button and Kevin Magnussen rounding out the points. What an absolutely insane race. That first lap was ridiculous. In fact, the first 3 laps were ridiculous. Then having to hold off the Mercedes. Some great racing with Nico Rosberg. Here is how it affects the Drivers' Championship. Rosberg staying in the lead of the championship in front of Lewis Hamilton, Daniel Ricciardo in 3rd. We now move up to 4th place, beating or taking that 4th place off Sebastian Vettel. Then it's Alonso, our teammate from Hülkenberg, Massa, Button and Magnussen rounding out the top 10. What an incredible win. Here is how it affects the Constructors' Championship. You can see that in the background, but what a win. What a race in general. Absolutely awesome stuff. Up there rivaling with Bahrain and with Monaco earlier on in the season. Mercedes, though, still leading the Constructors' Championship in front of Red Bull, Ferrari, Force India, McLaren and Williams. I really hope you enjoyed that race. Absolutely fantastic racing. I can't see how you would. If that doesn't deserve a like, I don't know what is. Feel free to drop a like below. That just tells me that you're enjoying the series and that you're enjoying the videos. So feel free, please drop a like. Subscribe if you're new around here as well. Subscriptions have been fantastic. I say it every time. Drop a comment as well telling me whether you're enjoying the videos, enjoying the series, what I could do better, what your thoughts were in that race, and what your predictions were before the race. There's not much point me saying that now because you've already seen it if you're hearing this, but still, nevertheless, it's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a good day. Enjoy yourselves.